Jeff, can you just share with us one or two examples of how people have significant changes after they experience the breath work? Any real-life examples that we can hear about?
Wow, there's lots of it. There's lots of examples. Maybe I talk about the examples in different areas. I think one of the most valuable, learning that people have with the breath work is how to reduce stress and anxiety. At least as I've done thousands of trainings over the years and worked with hundreds of thousands of people. And what I notice now more than ever is that people are coming into the training with a lot higher levels of anxiety. We're being bombarded every day with what's happening in the world, pressures around money, around cell phones. We get bombarded every day with news from TV and this war and this crisis, and people are just overwhelmed by the amount of stimulus that's coming in. And I think one of the most powerful things about transcendent breath work is that it provides people with that opportunity to decompress, to let go, to release this. And this is told by vast majority of people that do the training, is that they come away having a greater sense of peace, of also a sense of well-being, that they're just not in reaction. And that's part of what happens in using the breath work, is that it's how do we regulate our nervous system. We have a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. And when we're overstimulated, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in and our blood pressure goes up, our level of anxiety, our heart rate goes up, and all these things have a huge impact on our physical well-being. And so just physically doing the breath work brings you into a more peaceful, tranquil state. And I can't tell you how many thousands of people have talked about that as a significant benefit. There's one woman that came into the training and she was actually on oxygen. So she wasn't able to take deep breaths. She was on oxygen 24 hours a day. And doctors said that she would be on oxygen the rest of her life. And she was like 65 years old. And we did a training, the breath work workshop, and then she went to our Transcendent Retreat, which is a 5-day, more intensive kind of breath work. And at the end of that, she's now off oxygen. She is able to, because using that, she's opened up her lung capacity and her ability to breathe, and it's changed her life. She is now not having to carry around oxygen with her every day, and so that's really rewarding when you see people do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's hard to put a value on something like that. That's really incredible. I also think that when we talk about transcendent breath work, it is what we call a self-healing modality. I don't know if the breath work itself caused the change. It's hard to determine what's the cause and effect. But what we know is that if people learn to do this and they're able to do this in their life, there's a lot of things that shift. There's a lot of things that are different. And our physical body is an incredible system, and it can heal itself. And so the breath work is giving our bodies the best chance to heal itself.
And I love the word of like self-healing, because it's not depends on the external source,
right.
And then it's our breath. It's like within ourselves and inside out. This is amazing.
And that's really why I love it, because a lot of the trainings I did as a trainer, I'm interacting with people and coaching and all of that, and that's beneficial. But if you can really give people a way of healing themselves, of just doing this on their own, you really change lives that way. Now, I'll give you an example. Maybe I'll give you a personal example for me. Is one of the things that often we have to deal with in life is some fairly traumatic life experiences. I think most of us as human beings have gone through some trauma of some kind. And when I was very young, 6 years old, my father died, was killed in a car wreck, and it had an impact on me. And I never really knew how much. And when I did the breath work for the first time, I had this experience of seeing my father. As I was doing the breath work, my father came to me, and here I was now, about 60, and I'm thinking of my father when he passed away when I was 6. And so in a way, through that experience, I had an opportunity to, if you can say goodbye, complete that relationship. And just the result of that is I felt so much lighter and free. Kind of made sense of something that happened when I was 6, but I made sense of it at 60. That's another, I don't know if something like that happens for everybody, but that was a benefit for me.
That's really amazing for having a completion of this relationship, because when I'm seeing some of my clients, they never really get through the grieving process, and they're still holding on some guilt, some anger, and then of course all this sadness, which become a heavy burden for them, that not really allowing them to live a free life that they want. When I hear what you just shared, that's really touched.
Well, it's also a very important process. I think a lot of times we make our emotions and our life experiences as being really heavy, and that we can't, how do we deal with them? And that's why breath work is so powerful, because breathing is part of life, just like having hurts and having loss is also part of life. It's not an unnatural thing. More than likely, every one of us are going to experience loss of a loved one. Every one of us are going to experience feeling rejected at times, or feeling that we're not good enough. And that's not a bad thing. It's at how do we handle those kind of life experiences. And so the transcendent breath work is providing you with a way to go beyond how we normally handle things, and be able to, much like our breath, allow it to come in and let it go. And if we think about those times in our life when something happens, and it's usually those times when maybe we're scared, whatever, the tendency in those moments is that we hold our breath. It's like, and when we hold our breath, what actually is happening is that we're holding that traumatic experience, or that pain, we're holding that in our body, and it gets stuck in our body. When we learn to do the breath work, it's about how do we, through bringing in the breath, it begins to release what we're holding in our body. You naturally begin to let go of the sadness, or let go of the hurt, let go of the guilt or shame or whatever it is. And those are all natural human experiences. But through the breath work, you are able to handle it in a much more natural way.
Stop resisting about the emotions and allowing it to happen, experience it, and then let it flow.
Absolutely. That's great. Yeah.
Well, we sometimes go through different things in life, and of course we face different challenges and struggles. For those who are experiencing a lot of struggles in their life right now, any wisdom that you would like to share with them, or any word of encouragement that you can share with them in order to assist them to really go through, experience through this challenging period?
Yes. I mean, for me, each of us has an opportunity to create a life that we love. I really believe that. I believe that every one of us has within us the capacity to create a fulfilling life. And I think it's important that we realize that whatever has happened in life, whatever has gone on, it's temporary. And that using this kind of training, this kind of experience, you can empower yourself to move in the direction that you want. And the main thing is just do it. Just be willing to put yourself in a situation where you're challenged to create what you want. And I love this kind of work. Of course, I've been doing it for 50 years. But I never stop learning myself, and there's always something more. And so whether life is struggling right now or whether life is going pretty good, that's even more important. If life is going on pretty good, now's the time to even go further, because I want to encourage everybody to take whatever risk that is for you, whatever it requires of you, to say, no, I'm not going to settle for just what I have right now. I'm willing to do something different. And I'd love to see you in Wisdom or in our Transcendent Retreat or wherever. It would be an honor for me to support you and work with you.